Remember, you would if you're a parent. Her product is an inflatable child seat called the BubbleBum. And now she wants us to use, children to use pester power to stop their parents using their mobile phones while driving. It's the I Love You Enough campaign, and Grainne joins us in studio. How are you doing, Grainne?
I'm doing the best, Ray, thanks.
Thanks for coming in again. So you launched the campaign in Dublin today.
We did.
It's already been launched up the north. So it's a full island campaign.
It is. Well, it's actually Ireland and the UK. So we plan on launching it everywhere because I can't do anything in small measures.
You have to go global on it.
I have to go global on everything.
Right. Remind people, firstly, before we get to ILoveYouEnough.com campaign, the inflatable car seat. Mm-hmm. Yes. So
BubbleBum is the world's first and only inflatable car booster seat for children. So when you're going on your holidays and you're taking those huge, big, rigid ones, you don't have to do that anymore. You can deflate this, put it in your backpack and take it with you. Simple as that.
Right. And you told us when you were in the last time that you are gone global on it. You're in how many Walmarts all over America?
Oh, it's in Target stores. We're in 1,700 Target stores, and we're in, I mean, it's just been a phenomenal success. However, I will say, and fantastically so, that our best sellers in the whole world are actually our Dublin stores.
Right.
Our Dublin Health stores, and Carrickmines specifically.
Right. Now, so you travel a lot for your work in America. Mm-hmm. So you were both in a serious car accident and you witnessed a serious car accident that brought you to where you are today.
Indeed.
So we'll start the one you were in first.
Yeah, so I was in America and my husband and kids were with me, and we used to live there. So this is whenever I had gone over on another trip, and we were on the road literally where we used to live, and this other car just came up and it was a T-bone smash. All the airbags were deployed, the car rolled, had a post, had to be cut out of the car, all taken away in ambulances. And the paramedics actually said to me when I got into the ambulance, he said, we have never seen anybody ever walk out of a crash like this. Like, we only had minor injuries. And I thought, oh God, we're really, really lucky. And I always think my glass is always half full, always. And I thought, oh, how lucky were we? You know, something far worse would have been sitting around the corner. Like, we were so, so lucky. And then as I was going to, ironically enough, the Safer Kids, Safer Roads conference in Washington the following December, on the way to the airport, there was a fatal accident right in front of me, and I was one of the first people on the scene. And I thought, oh my God, this is horrendous. And I always ask myself, what's the message here?
Right.
You know, what is the message? There's got to be a blessing in this somewhere. So I went over to Washington, went to the conference, and at the conference I learned that 1.8 billion children leave home every day to go to school. And 500 of those don't come home. And for me, that was a real striking statistic, because I couldn't understand how, like, that's 500 mummies and daddies losing their child, you know. I just could not comprehend this. And on the way, while I was there, one of the speakers at the event was this young girl, a teen survivor, and there was like a different sequence of events throughout the whole conference that were making me think, but this one in particular stood out. And she talked about how she'd been distracted whenever she was in the car. She was on her mobile phone. She was pretty much left for dead. She had something like a 1% chance of survival. She was there telling her story. She had all her faculties about her, like everything, all her moving parts were still moving. And I tell you what, a sharp girl you've never met before in your life. She was fantastic. So I then went to the airport. Now, this was a tiny airport. And this girl was sitting beside me in the airport. And
Coincidence,
I thought,
yeah.
Real. But I don't believe in coincidence, you see. And I thought, oh my God. I said, it's great to see you, because I had actually waited to speak to her at the event. I started talking to her and she said, we do actually speak to other teens to try and discourage them from distracted driving, to try and stop them from using their phones when they're driving. And she said, we try and do that, so that they would go out to the schools over there and speak, or they would do like video conference into the schools as well, to try and promote this safe driving rather than distracted driving. It's more about the peer pressure. They're trying to make it a negative, so making it socially unacceptable to use your mobile phone as opposed to the other way around. So I got on the flight and I'm sitting on the flight, and lo and behold, she was sitting on the seat beside me. And I thought, look, it's too big a coincidence here. And we'd exchanged numbers and we exchanged emails, and we started talking about it. And I said, how am I going to get to the driver without being a nag? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, my husband used to be a smoker and I was death on it. And my brother died of lung cancer, and he never smoked it. He was very young. And I said, how can you smoke? And he just said, look, I just can't stop. And I remember sitting in the house with my 3-year-old son, and he said to me, Mommy, Daddy's going to die. And I said, what are you talking about? It's on the TV. Look, one of those shows was on. I can't remember the name of the show. It was like, Honey, I'm Killing Myself, or Honey, I'm Killing the Kids, or something like that. And he said, Daddy's going to die. I said, not at all. He's absolutely fine. His daddy came in the door. And the minute he came in the door, he said, Daddy, please don't smoke. You're going to die. It was the last cigarette he smoked.
Right.
You know, so for me, when while I was on the flight, I said, oh my God, that is how we are the emotive response from a request from your child like that. And I talked to my own children, and they said, well, Mama, if you ask, do you love you enough? Is it enough that you'll not do it?
Do you love me enough to not use your mobile phone while driving?
To never use your mobile phone when you're driving. So I went into the school. So I went into the Gael School on Parnell Square, and I was also in Our Lady of Consolation National School in Donnycarney. Fabulous children. Have to do a big shout out to them because I know they're all listening. Yeah. And it was incredible. Some of the wee questions that they were asking. And I knew if they were asking the question that this is what was happening, they were saying, what if you're in a traffic jam, is it okay to use your mobile phone? And I said, no. Why do you think it's not okay? And they said, well, in case somebody drives up and crashes into you. And I said, well, you're still driving. You're still in charge of a big vehicle. So you shouldn't be on your mobile phone. And other people were saying, but what if you're Snapchatting? And I've seen so many people driving along, taking pictures of themselves. And I find it hard enough to navigate my way through the traffic with cyclists and all the rest without there having been a distraction in the car. And I would consider myself to be a pretty good driver. Right. Been driving a long time, probably 1,000 years. But, the wee questions that they were asking, and another question another child asked, and it nearly broke my heart. He said, but if I ask my mommy and daddy, do they love me enough? Maybe they might think that I think they don't love me. And I said, well, all you're doing by asking them that is reminding them. And I said they would value that. When do you think they would rather you ask them the question? Do you think they would rather you ask them the question after you've had a crash or before? And he said, well, before. And I said, well, maybe just bear that in mind. Right.
I was just gathering up statistics before we come in there from the RSA. So from 2008 to 2009, your drivers 4 times more likely to crash while on the phone. 4 times. And you can be fined up to 2,000. And it's increasing, you see, year on year. The number of penalty points given out for mobile phone, not crimes, but whatever they call them, is increasing from year to year. So it means that more and more people are using their mobile phones while in the car, and more people are being caught. So this sounds brilliant. And what you say there about the power of a child over their parent is amazing. Like when I get into the car and I don't put on my safety belt, and it could be just.
I can't believe you do that, Ray.
No, 100 yards down the road. There's 100 yards down the road, and
where's my rosary beads? Honest to God, you're not allowed to even start the engine in our house without putting on the seatbelt.
And then the child would say, Daddy, Kate or Tom would say, Daddy, seatbelt, Daddy, seatbelt, Daddy, seatbelt. So what are you going to do now? Because it's, you're talking here. How do we get to children to make sure that they say this to their parents?
Well, I'm asking now every child that's in a car with anybody driving, and it's not just about being in the car with your parents, it's about any driver. When you're alone in the car, you are never alone on the road. It's all well and good saying, but I was in on my own. But I wasn't in on my own. I had my children in the back. You're thinking about the other people on the road. It's not just you. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to contact all of the schools and asking them to become involved in the initiative so that they can ask the children, and we've been providing stickers to them, and children will do anything for a sticker, but the sticker is to remind them, I love you enough. So we're asking all of the schools to ask their children to go home and ask their parents, do you love me enough to never touch your mobile phone when you're driving? So that's what we're planning to do, and we've got a Facebook page set up, we've got a website set up, and we're asking adults to take the pledge. So anybody that carries a child in their car can take the pledge. Anybody who doesn't carry a child in the car can take the pledge. If you are behind the wheel of the car, there should be no reason why you don't take the pledge. Do you know what we've discovered, Ray? There's so many people saying to me, but I won't get caught. And I said, what do you mean you won't get caught? Like, the emphasis is on avoiding the law rather than
being safe. Yeah.
I don't know where the sense is on that.
Yeah. Toyota have an app called Face It Down.
Fantastic.
Which is similar type thing. And you can download the app and you get sort of bonus points for the amount of miles you cover while your phone is face down and you don't use it. So that's good. So you're doing this all over Ireland and all over the UK. And what do you hope, what's the end game?
From a company perspective for us, our goal is to reduce the preventable deaths and injuries on the roads. And these injuries are preventable. So whenever we can see those death numbers and the injuries reducing, we know that we're making a difference. And it doesn't just have to be the I Love You Enough campaign, because you talk about the Toyota campaign. All of these campaigns are significant in making a difference. You know, I didn't come into this world to just partake. I have to contribute. And I feel I have to contribute all the time. And if I'm not contributing, like, what's the point in me being here? You've got to make a difference. And every one person taking the pledge makes a difference, you know.
Hands-free. How do you feel about hands-free?
As long as it is not, as long as you don't have to physically look away from the windscreen. There's a lot of debate about that, but the difficulty with that is that hands-free is very similar, if it's been used correctly, to having a passenger beside you in the vehicle speaking to you. So it'll reach the stage, if they take out hands-free, it'll reach the stage whereby you're not allowed a passenger in the vehicle. And I was asked the same question about sat-navs. And they're actually introducing sat-navs into the driving test for the UK. So it'll be not by the instructor giving you the directions. You'll get in the sat-nav. The instructor will assess you, but the sat-nav will tell you where to go, because they realise that people are increasingly so using the sat-nav.
Yeah. A recent study has found that almost 1 in 12 motorists in Ireland have used their phone while driving at flowing speed on an open road on at least an occasional basis. That's 1 in 12.
I say that's people trying to be modest.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than 1 in 12.
And then texting. People text.
And the difficulty is, you think, and I keep saying, to touch your phone. You know, if you have a sat-nav up, you're really not touching your sat-nav. Your sat-nav is normally telling you where to go, and you might have like a glance to the side, but it's in your peripheral vision on the front of your windscreen. Your phone isn't up there, and even when it is up there, typically you've got to touch it. So to find where you're putting your finger even on the screen, you've really got to focus on that. And if you're focusing on that, you're not going to see, you don't see, as I say, the ball coming at you.
That's a powerful campaign. The amount of cars I meet on a daily basis with no eyes on the windscreen is terrifying. All ages. It should apply to all road users, including pedestrians. Yeah. And can't understand why this crime is not treated same as drink driving. It's probably even more prevalent due to numbers doing it, and it's 24/7, says Frank. And the other thing now is that the Gardaí, I don't know what powers the PSNN I have, but the Gardaí can look into mobile phone records after a car accident.
It's the same with PSNN.
Yeah. One thing that amazed me is the amount of people driving with their phone perched on a device stuck up in the middle of their windscreen. How can you see the road clearly? Are you that important that you can't do without your phone? Thanks, Enda. And I've just seen a Garda car driving around a roundabout talking on a mobile phone. Big smile, just chatting to you. I think they have a dispensation. Gardaí, yes, they do have a dispensation. I think when it comes to safety belts, what?
Have they got extra senses?
Well, they won't have their kids in the car with them. No.
But I have my kids in my car with me.
Yeah. So, iloveyouenough.com. And you're going into schools and you've free stickers, which is brilliant. And anything more that happens, tell us and we'll tell them.
We will.
Great. Grainne Kelly, thanks so much. We'll take a quick commercial break.
The Radar Session on RTE Radio.